Call to the Lowell City Council regular meeting Tuesday, June 4th, 2024 at 7:02. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bennett.
Here.
Councilor Harris.
Here.
Councilor Stratus.
Present.
Councilor Webb. Here. Councilor Murray.
Here.
We have everyone. You want to stand for the vote? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The largest amount of water I've received. This bottle of water is gigantic, it was giant.
I noticed that.
You'll have to take a break.
For the agenda, I understand we want to add on other business, material about the city administrator's evaluation. Do you have anything else we want to add or change? Okay. Sounds good. Next, we don't have a consent agenda. Public comments. Does the public have anything to say?
Not until you get down to, new business.
Okay, we'll keep you in mind. Council comments, anything? Okay, we have several public hearings coming up here. So, first one, resolution 831, a resolution to establish water and sewer rates to be effective July 1st, 2024. The public hearing is open at 7:04. Mr. Cottle, would you like to speak?
Yes.
Page 4.
All right, I'll just share the draft utility rate resolution.
Okay.
Based on the budget committee's recommendations, water service is left at the current rate. There is an increase to bulk water and fire hydrant fee proposed. And based on the budget committee's recommendation, sewer service is increased to $72 per EDU per month.
I have a separate question, away from the public, side of the public. Would you think that the increased income from the water is associated with the meters? Do you feel that's part of it, or just, that has to be part of it, but just plain usage? Because new meters we put all those in. Are we benefiting by putting those in, you think?
Oh, yes, I don't know the exact figure for our leakage, but prior to those meters, leakage was around 30% unaccounted for water production,
Right.
and it's now down to around 10%.
Okay.
So there's been some repairs throughout the system, but also replacing those old meters that are more accurate has helped with that.
Okay.
So it has had a significant effect.
So some probably wasn't leakage, it was just lost to meter.
Exactly. The older it gets, the less accurate they are.
Any other comments before we open it up? Public comment?
Well,
Not hearing any, not seeing any. Public hearing is closed at 7:06.
I'd like also to note, there is some attendance online. If anybody online wishes to speak during public hearing, please speak up.
Please. Second up is on page 7, resolution 832. Resolution declaring the city election to receive state revenues for 2024-2025. Public hearing is now open at 7:07. The purpose of this hearing is to provide the public with an opportunity to suggest potential uses of state revenue sharing funds. The city of Lowell anticipates receiving the following for the fiscal year 2024. State revenue, 13,244, cigarette tax, 708. Liquor tax, 24,724, marijuana tax, 2862. Okay, we're open for public comments if anybody has any. Not hearing, not seeing anything. The public hearing is closed at 7:08. Next up on, oops, somebody want to say something? Or is it just me hearing things? Okay. I hear voices.
Talking to yourself.
I hear voices.
Great.
Uh,
Yeah.
an overrule. Resolution 833, that's on page 9, a resolution to adopt a budget and impose categorized taxes for fiscal year 2024-2025. This public hearing is open at 7:08. Mr. Connell, you want to comment on this?
Yes, I want to highlight some changes since the budget committee adopted. Just for everybody's awareness. On the meeting page for this meeting, I have a draft adopted document. In that document, I highlighted areas that would change since the budget committee adopted. Let me go to the detail sheets. All right, under the sewer fund, you'll see an increase here in the adopted column. That's based on the budget committee's recommendation to increase rates to $72 per EDU per month. Under the water fund, capital grant went up $100,000, and the projected capital grant, I made some adjustments. That's related to the programmable logic controller project. I received an update from TAG on that, and they gave me their projections through June 30th of what billings will be, and that's of July 1, what the billings will be. So I wanted to factor in at least a portion of that project as of July 1. So that's where that $100,000 is, and that's offset. I'll show you the water department budget. It's increased $100,000.
Did we talk about that, or am I just missing that, or is that an adjustment that's just come your way because they contacted you?
It's an adjustment that just came my way.
Oh, good, because
We didn't talk about it.
recollection of that. I thought, uh-oh.
There are some ways that we could adjust the budget after July 1, but I think the most conservative way to do it is just to factor in the budget now while we're going.
Yeah,
through
I
the
just didn't recall it, so I remember, yeah, I don't have an issue with it.
process. Okay. All right, so those are the changes to revenues. All right, sewer fund, I increased contingencies because there were more resources coming into the fund due to the increase in rates. So I just popped those into contingency so that the fund could balance. And for the water fund, there's that $100,000 right there for the PLC. And then since the there was an increase in a change in resources, it was offset in contingency to make the fund balance. And those are the only changes since the budget committee adopted. The only one in there that the budget committee did not talk about was the PLC project. And also in your agenda packet, I have some explanation on how much you can change budgets after the budget committee meeting. You can increase expenditures in any fund 10% without having to issue a new Form LB1 notice. And with these changes, we're below that 10% threshold.
Questions? Right. So, well, this is, has to do with the water fund, and I'm on page, 42 of the packet, or I guess it's 39 on the sheets.
On the adopted budget packet.
Yeah. It's under, resources for the water fund. Say, 42. Yeah, across the top there, that. I just caught my eye, we had, in most of these stay pretty common, the beginning balance proposed was, and approved was $116,000, adopted was 106, what happened to the 10,000, do you recall? Was it something that came in after the audit, or something of that nature?
I think it has to do with your 23-24 projected.
I just have 24, 25 proposed with 116,000, then approves 116, and then adopted.
Yeah, it's based on the change in the PLC project.
Okay, so we're gonna spend more money going in this year, going into next year, what? Between end of June and 1st of July. So that's what the beginning balance is. I just saw $10,000 go
It has to
away.
do with that change that you made there in the capital outlay and grant revenue in 23-24.
Yeah, I believe that's what is causing that. I'd have to go through my spreadsheet and track down the exact number.
All right, I just, you
But
get back later, it's
there-
not, that's not worth stopping, what we're doing, so I just saw that was one that caught my eye. I didn't expect those to change. I don't think we opened up, the public hearing for 834 yet. No, we're still on 833. Okay, adopt the budget. Okay. Any other questions for him? Okay, public comment, anything on public comment? Not hearing, not seeing. Then we'll close this 7:15. Next up, on page 15, resolution 834. A resolution certifying services for fiscal year 2024-2025. Public hearing is now open at 7:16. Mr. Collins.
We have to certify to the state that we're a city and we provide services. The only change compared to previous years is I checked the note for police protection, which changes in the budget for that.
Because we have a fire protection district. Oh, right. So city,
Public comment? Okay. Seeing that, online nothing. And so we'll close the public hearing at 7:17. That takes care of all business. New business on page 18. Follow up to budget committee discussion regarding local option capital levy for East First Street repair. Mr. Collins, let's introduce this.
This was brought up at the budget committee meeting. The committee suggested putting this on a council meeting agenda for further discussion. I addressed this topic at length in my budget message and in the agenda sheet packet, and I'll just turn it over to the council to get the discussion started.
Thoughts? Comments?
Yeah.
We have public comment on this.
It's okay?
Name and address.
Okay. Bill George, 125 Marina Vista Drive, Lowell. I was on the budget committee, you might remember, and I was kind of interested in what's gonna happen with First Street. And my suggestion was to just do a temporary fix to keep the dust down this summer, and I wondered where are you at with what has been done? Has the lawyer been talked to as to what that's gonna affect the case? Or, you know, I really, yeah, I don't even know how long it is, but I bet it's not much more than 100 feet. And an 8-foot wide strip in there and make a 1 lane and blacktop it. Can't cost that much. Max said he was gonna have some kind of an idea on what that would run, gonna get some bids, and I don't know if he did that or not. And so I'm here because I wanna know what's happening with that. I think this could go on for years, and he even said in there, it could be go on until 26 or 27 before it's actually repaired. That alone, that really isn't, as city people, we should take care of that. At least something so that it's not so damn bad as it is now. That's a bumpy ride down that First Street. That's my comment. Do I get any feedback from anybody? What has been done?
I had that same note that Max was gonna.
So my impression was Max was looking into that for us and we haven't heard back yet.
But has the lawyer been notified that you're interested in doing that? Would that matter on the case or not? I think you can answer that if you have talked to a lawyer.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to discuss the case in public. As soon as I have information, I'll communicate that to the public.
Thank you.
I support that, repair, I mean, pending what Max's findings are. I think that it would be a wiser way to go than doing a bond measure to the city, to do these repairs. I think it would be a good fix to let the people up there. And if I had to throw a number out there, I'm guessing it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of, 20K or something like that is probably.
Even less.
It wasn't less.
It kind of depends, it depends on what oil prices are. As to what the figure is, and they'll give you a 30-day look at it. I don't know if an individual like myself, if I could do it as, and pay for it myself, then we wouldn't have to be going through the high wages. And then reimbursed when the city did get somebody going.
It was,
That's legal for us to do.
it was many times over 20, so, and that wouldn't be repairing the substructure that they wanted, so. Yeah, but,
No, just
I-
land one, like a
Like a driveway.
easy driveway. And it'll get torn up, but at least it would be, I mean, I wish I had 20/20 hindsight, should have done it a year ago. If I could turn back time, can't, so I agree, I think we need to do something. But not a bond,
Yeah, I'm not supportive of that.
The bond wouldn't pass.
right?
oh, no, so we'd have to go to a fee of some sort through the council, pass it on to the people. Because we saw with the budget, we don't have,
You can't do that without a vote either, Don.
I know, we're still
Should.
we're still so tight with money that we'd have to get a loan to do
Well, not necessarily, but, I think we need to get an accurate estimate.
Yeah.
Well, the St. Benny project, if I remember, was $350,000. That was including the roadway and all the infrastructure, electric lines and power lines and, or, I'm sorry, power lines and water lines and sewer lines and that whole thing was 300, and that was under the, legal wages. And so, that's a lot bigger project. It was some years ago, there's no question about that, but to understand that the engineers are saying it's $500,000 to do that, it's just, that's,
Well, that's not the certain, it's all substructured
I
problem.
understand that, but
And so we got to dig all that back out.
but you're not doing the whole first street, you're only doing one section of it.
But if you're just covering paving, if we get it looking good, then I don't like to say, I don't know how they affect the case, I really don't. I really don't, Bill. I understand what you're saying.
And it
It'd be good to have something done.
It's not leaking anymore, so it's fixed down in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And,
It's fixed a long time ago.
the fact that people didn't drive on it's packed pretty good, so you put a coating of blacktop on there and get away with it for a long time.
We may end up doing that, and what the lawsuit comes
The
out.
point is,
We just
we
don't
are,
know. We
we
just
do
don't
want to
know.
look into that.
My only concern with doing a single strip of asphalt, Bill, is that, do we open ourselves up to any safety issues if people aren't conscientious?
They're doing it all the time, one lane, put signs up, one lane road, and they can see the oncoming traffic. And, as long as people want to stay on that and not make dust, they'll do it. It's not, I don't think that's a real hazard, I mean, it's not like around the corner or something like that, it's. I don't know, guys,
Yes.
it's a sore, it really is, I don't understand why our insurance company. I don't understand why the streets aren't insured along with everything else in this town. But I guess they're not, so.
Well, didn't we-
Any thoughts about new direction for the city administrator on this topic?
I'd like to see the estimates we're talking about.
Yeah,
Well,
well, I think what we're
May,
saying that,
And it wouldn't take any more to get an estimate for them to do a 16-foot and give us two estimates, one for like an 8-foot, one for like a 16-foot strip. So,
All the way across. And, maybe, to know what our lawyers feel by what action we would take and how it would help us with the case. That'd be, or we.
Well,
Are we-
I can say, Mr. Mayor, because this was mentioned. This was mentioned publicly, during, I believe, the council's last, planning retreat that we had.
Yeah.
A little over a year ago, we discussed this issue. And what was discussed was that if we do a short-term fix, we would not be able to recoup those monies. We would be out those monies. So at that time, there was the decision to just not do anything at this time. So that's,
I think we thought maybe it was gonna move quicker.
I was gonna say. I was gonna say.
I think we had all the
I
information.
I can see making a different decision now because it's been a year and we need to.
It's been more than a year, hasn't it? When did it happen?
Good
When did
18
the
months,
water, huh?
a good 18 months. at least.
yes,
Oh, has it been that long? Well,
Yeah.
I lose track, sorry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different consideration now, but I'm looking at the three options that. I mean, so basically, we need to. It sounds like we're not in favor of a levy, is that something we,
I think we need to, like you say, get an estimate back on what we're talking about. You know,
well, I know, but
I didn't understand, you said we're not in favor.
there, he put in three options here, so what is our plan forward? You know, honestly, fixing it temporarily is, in my mind, is, well, it's part of it, but almost separate. You know,
Be number 4.
it'd be number 4, or, number 2, we're gonna wait and play it out. You know,
But I think we're talking about another option that's not listed there, and that's not just to wait, but to see what it would take.
well, I guess
to
I
fix
meant
it.
in terms of we aren't gonna do, so we're saying we're not gonna do the levy, we're gonna see how it goes and look into doing a temporary fix. So I guess that would be number 4.
But now when we wait, you know, between council meetings, then that's when we lose traction. Because it was the 15th where we talked about this last time, and now we're 2 weeks out again, so, you know, if we wait 2 more weeks to get an answer, and then 2 more weeks to make a decision, I mean, that's not very good process.
Well, could,
I mean, have you spoken to, Max is not here, is he?
Max is out on vacation this week.
Okay, and you guys didn't meet after last council
There's
meeting?
been a lot going on. We haven't had, I haven't had.
I thought he said he had a bid. I thought when he was at the table here that he had an idea. I didn't write anything down. I don't have that.
yeah, but I think he was still waiting on something.
That was, when it was initially done, he went out for some, bids on what it would be, just, more for a temporary fix. And he did get some numbers back.
Well, can we ask for Max to focus on that when he gets back?
Can we ask the engineer? I don't know.
And Max went through it once, so he can go back to the people that,
He'll be back next week.
You will.
And then maybe, Jeremy can send us a note and we can, if we need to have a quick Zoom meeting or something, and
I can have one of the staff at Civil West Engineering, not necessarily Matt, but one of their folks who does the development stuff to call around and get a rough idea, because I'm gonna be out next week. And then if you wanna get moving on this, that's one way we could do that.
Yeah,
that would be good.
because we're not talking about engineering, we're just, I don't know.
So a large part of cost with these projects is mobilizing and demobilizing equipment. I would suggest contacting Collier Asphalt in Dexter. Their equipment is staged in Pleasant Hill. It's the closest asphalt contractor to us by quite a bit.
And sometimes there's projects going, this is the season, it starts right now. And we've done that before. I know people have doubled up in neighborhoods and gotten driveways done at the same time and saved a ton of dough.
Because the
Yeah.
mobilization.
Yes,
is where it's at.
yes. Yeah,
And yeah,
So
sometimes
that's a
they're
great
looking
idea,
for
have it
another
on
driveway or
there.
something to do because they're there. You
yeah,
know,
get a full day out of their crew. What's the name of the place?
Collier, Colyer.
Jimmy, we're not hearing from you. Are you good?
I think maybe I was the one who raised the point last time that I would be very anxious to proceed on a repair on that road without hearing from our counsel in our ongoing litigation. I still have those concerns. I think before we do anything, we should find out from him any potential concern he has that we're not considering about this.
Well, I think that's the plan, but in the meantime, we could get some bids. We can, I mean, it's.
Yep. I was just reiterating my concern.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad you did. That during this period that can't we be looking for grant opportunities also?
anything else on this? Next is a Lake County Government's intergovernmental agreement for IT services 8596 for next year. On page 28. Yeah.
Did I not add an agenda sheet for this?
It's below the.
Yeah, it doesn't
reversed.
start with it, you put it in. the-
Yeah, it was just reversed, so
Keep going.
below the document.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is just our standard managed services contract. It's in the budget. This is for them to do the full range of IT stuff and they like for us.
Should be too.
Any questions on this one? We have a motion?
Is it,
Oh, that's
just
okay.
a
Go ahead.
general question, is this is in addition to I don't know what all agreements we have with Elcog, and I know everything's busy right now, but for 24-25, it'd be informative to me, because I just don't think I've ever seen a list of the contract, the agreements that we have, intergovernmental agreements that we have out there. I just don't know what all we have. I know we have streets, striping, and that sort of stuff, but I just don't think I've ever said, except for when they come at budget time, and then I always think that it's not the right time, and so I'm gonna make a note at it. I'll follow up,
Well,
with you.
streets is with Lane County.
That's what I mean, all these intergovernmental agreements,
Oh.
I just,
Okay,
I just don't have a feel for it, and so. You know, we've got attorney services, we've got planning services, and I just don't have a concept of, is
We got
that bigger than a
straight
bread box or?
we got a drain pumping service that we distribute it to also.
Yeah. It just, I
There's
don't
a
know,
bunch of.
it's a bunch of that and bunch of money, and then it'd make the budget more meaningful, because then we wouldn't have to say, what's in that contract services line? You know, every time. But I know now's not the best time, so follow up later.
I'll make a motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Lane County for right-of-way, special event permits, and to authorize the city administrator to sign.
Page 28.
I'll second.
Mr. Mayor, I think, we fast forwarded to item number 3.
I can see that. Okay, we have a motion and a second for on page 29, a motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Lane County for right-of-way special event permits and to authorize the city administrator to sign. Question?
I thought we were talking about the information system.
Did I skip over the wrong one?
Yeah.
I thought we were on page 29. Are we on page 28?
Yeah.
My
28.
bad.
Oh.
All right. So I'll make a motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Lane County Council of Governments for information systems managed services in the amount of $8,596 for the fiscal year 2024-2025, and to authorize the city administrator to sign. Sorry.
We have a motion and a second. A motion to approve a governmental agreement with Lane County governments for information system management services in the amount of $85.96 for the fiscal year 2024-2025, and authorize city administrator to sign. Do we have any further questions, thoughts on this one? All those in favor of motion to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the Lane County governments for information system management services in the amount of $85.96 for fiscal year 2024-2025, and to authorize the city administrator to sign, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have our vote. And we have next up is intergovernmental agreement with Lane County for right-of-way for the use of street for parades. Mr. Collins, anything else to add to that?
Nothing to add.
Okay, can we use the motion made by Tim on this and seconded?
Still on the table.
Still on the table, okay.
And I think I seconded it.
Yeah, so
Yes, go
I have a
ahead.
question. So all this does is it basically just formalizes, we go to the county for the permit.
Right. We can hold parades on their roads.
Yeah. So,
We give
yeah, we,
brief agreement.
no.
Have we ever done this before
Yeah, well, the IGA,
with them for this? I've just never voted on, so never. I
we
guess-
used to do it without an IGA, but.
Okay.
it's tough.
Okay. I-
Yeah, we did this about 3 years ago.
Did we? Okay. All right.
And it's at their request, I didn't go to them.
That's stuff we don't
I'm glad we're-
have to remember.
It's made done properly. Okay. We have a motion and a second, a motion to approve, all in favor of a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the Lane County for right-of-way special events and to authorize the city administrator to sign, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our other business item on here, speak to about, the city administrator's evaluation, timetable process.
All right, we had a process that was agreed upon at the May 21st meeting. According to which my self-evaluation will be due June 7th. I just haven't had enough time to do a quality job on getting this to you. I'm requesting that we push this out a couple weeks. That could also include the council feedback as well, as if you need more time. So I'm requesting June 24th to get you that self-evaluation. That will give me a couple weekends to come in the office and focus on this. I really need some focus time. And that would put us at July 2 for the council to review all this information. And then it would put us at July 16th, which was around at the same time frame from last year. Present that draft to me, and if you need more time, we could have another meeting on August 6th. Basically, I underestimated the amount of time that I will need, and I'm asking to push it out for a couple weeks.
I have no problem with that myself. The only thing I will say is I'm gonna be gone July 16th to around 30th. So I don't know if we tried to have a meeting in there to actually do the evaluation. I wasn't sure. I forgot to look at the dates. So if that's, or I could probably be on soon. I'll just leave my feelings. So I guess I can do that. Otherwise, I have a problem with it. I mean, as long as Jeremy's comfortable with his evaluation, that's all that.
So when do
When
yeah, we get this, I mean, so we get Jeremy's stuff. When do we get Jeremy's input and when do we get our forms to fill out? That's what I need to know, I guess, so I get that on my calendar.
I think we just send Jimmy our little three, there's the 3 areas we covered. Right up.
I have no recollection at the moment, I'd have to look at what I did, but don't we get something and then we send it back to you? Or you ask us for some guided thing?
Jeremy's memo to you covers the areas you are to evaluate him on. It's 3 prime areas. His email has some suggested dates. So this would bump our deadline from June 7th, so this weekend, to the 24th.
Right, but does that mean the 24th is when we're gonna get your self-evaluation?
Correct.
We're all
Okay.
turning our stuff in at the same time. We don't see his before we write ours.
I'm all in favor of it.
Don't we normally see your self-evaluation?
I remembered it that way too, but Jimmy said, no, that's not what we did. I was thinking, I
That's
think
what I'm
it was
used
the
to.
first year.
And even if it's what we did, my suggestion to council, which again, this is something we've already talked about. This is how we do executive evaluations at the university. We don't see the self-evaluation before we write our initial draft. This is not your final evaluation. This is your initial response to these 3 areas.
Okay,
And it's in Jeremy.
and then July 2nd is when we come with our input in executive session with just the council.
Yes,
And at that point, then we have Jeremy's self-evaluation as well.
yes.
Then we have the executive session on the 16th with Jeremy present. Okay, got it.
I think on June 24th, all that info needs to go to Jimmy so he can start compiling it, correct?
June.
Unless you agree to this extended new deadline that you suggested, Jeremy?
He said 24, yeah, he was talking about.
June 24th.
Yeah, 24.
So,
Yeah, so
And
we get the self-evaluation. When do you want or do you recap our stuff? I'm sorry, this is just,
Yeah,
I
no, I
don't.
agree. In the past, we got his
no,
report.
not last year.
Yeah, we submitted something, and that June 2nd or whatever, it was kind of synthesized and brought back to us.
Well, I think we're peeling his off, but for our
Yeah.
input, do we just come to the July meeting with our own individual things, or do you recap that as well?
Yes.
I will recap it
Yeah.
from all of you for that July meeting. And then in the July meeting, I will share that draft with you. You know, the major themes. But again, you'll all have access to all of it. So I won't
Right, but
like there'll be an executive summary at the top and then all of the evaluations below that.
so you're gonna get Jeremy's self-evaluation by the 6/24 and ours individual ones by it as well.
Yeah, and I
And
will
then
not
you'll
be including
present-
Jeremy's. I will not be including Jeremy's in that synthesized for our discussion. There are two documents. So one is our
On
evaluation.
July 2nd?
Correct. To be blunt, I don't understand why I would include the employee's evaluation synthesized in our internal synthesized document. Jeremy's will be included, so you'll still have that, but I'm not going to go through Jeremy's self-evaluation
No, that's not-
and
no,
pull
I-
out his
two
main
different
points. That's your
documents.
role as an individual. Yes, two different documents. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read faces through Zoom and suss out the meaning of some of the questions. So yes, two documents. One will be a synthesis of everyone's, and then Jeremy's going to send you his self-evaluation directly. That's not coming through me.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's when it says it's due 6/24, that's to us then. But our deadline to you of our individual things for you to recap is June 24 as well?
Yep,
Yes.
and then I'll spend the time between that point and the next meeting combining your all's feedback into, an executive summary, which again will include, I'll
Yes, I get
anonymize
it.
it as much as possible, but yours will be there.
Jeremy, didn't you send us that memo? Did you send it to us in an email?
Yeah, you did.
Thanks, yeah.
Did you send it to our private email?
I need to read
It's in the packet from the May 21st meeting.
Okay.
Oh. Recent, okay.
I sent a recent email on a proposed change to the deadlines.
I saw that, yeah. I just need to look at the memo again.
Jeremy's gonna get his self-evaluation to council members directly, not through Jimmy.
What's the purpose of that?
Well,
Is
because
that-
we're gonna get together.
No,
at some-
but the purpose, thing like, I'd almost like to have some of his self-evaluation before I write his, I know what I'm gonna, I have a feeling I know what I'm gonna write, but I'd like to see his before I sit down to write it, so, like, if I submitted mine like 2 or 3 days ahead saying certain things, and then get his self-evaluation,
But remember,
and then
Don,
afterwards say,
this is the process we adopted.
yeah, okay,
And we did it this way last year. But remember, we're gonna have his self-evaluation at the time we come together to discuss, so we'll have that.
Recap of ours.
Yes, and we'll have his, so if there's anything that we didn't see or didn't, we'll have an opportunity then
To modify.
to modify or add to, or, to come up with our consolidated.
If I may, I believe Councilor Murray's goal here is to have everybody come to this as a blank slate without being colored by anything that I may put out there, so I can see the value of that.
Correct. The goal is for you to have your unvarnished opinion, positive or negative, before seeing Jeremy's. And then we'll have a discussion to decide, oh, maybe we missed things that Jeremy brought up that we didn't consider in the evaluation, or maybe there's a disagreement and we need to articulate that.
Yeah, that works. I mean, it's true. I just didn't understand.
Old history, I've done it differently, so.
Well,
So we're going to do this, okay. No, I don't know.
Differently every year.
So,
but this was the thing we adopted, and we adopted it from last year, so it's what we chose, said we were gonna do.
What it is.
anything else by anybody? Oh. In that case, we're adjourned at 7:47.
Well, I admit that one.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Jenny. Have a good trip.
Thank you.